Okay guys, welcome back. We've finished the install with the AltRider crash bars, a full system. Really well engineered, well put together, and just all round quality. I'm pretty fussy with how things are put together and engineered, and the AltRider stuff is really good. Just the bolts they use, they're quite specific, so some bolts are reused, but if they're anywhere near not long enough, then AltRider supply you with a new bolt, usually stronger, longer, and everything is completely well thought out. The install itself was pretty easy. You'll see some sort of fast forward footage of me putting this together, but you know, it took probably a couple of hours. No major dramas. The most complicated thing you have to do is loosen the header bolts up in here. You got to loosen those header bolts up in there, both sides. Undo your exhaust. There's a mount back in here behind the foot peg, and there's obviously this mount up here that you can see as well. So you just have to loosen them, drop down, or lower the exhaust a bit just to get clearance to get this bracket bolted up in the back there. That is the most complicated thing you have to do. Everything else is quite simple. Couple of tips that I picked up, I guess, for the install. This bracket here that you put both sides of your frame there, that's the sort of Jesus nut of the whole system, and that needs to go in first. Once you've got that bracket in, then you install this bracket down here as described by loosening and lowering the exhaust, and that's it. That is pretty much it. From there you bolt the lower crash bars on both sides. So we have one mount down here with this additional plate that we put in, bolts up onto the front frame mount there that we just saw before. So that's your right hand side. At this stage we're just leaving all the bolts loose. As we go around to the right hand side, sorry, the bike's left hand side, we need to take the bash plate off, which is just a couple of bolts, and then in behind the bash plate, where there's a bracket, an OEM steel bracket in there, which you just need to unbolt, replace those two bolts with the AltRider supplied ones, and then the bottom of the crash bar here itself mounts in behind that OEM bracket, and as usual up onto the front bar mount from the frame there. Once you have the lower bars in place, it's quite simple to do the uppers. I started with this bracket in here. So this bracket in behind the four bolts there as you look underneath here, you can see those two domed hex nuts there, and this bolt up there. That's all that holds that bracket on. This bolt here is another OEM replacement, so we pull the OEM bolt out, replace it with the AltRider kit. These two come with the AltRider kit, and once they're bolted in, it's quite simple to line up your left and right hand side upper crash bars, and then bolt them into just behind the lower crash bars on that same mount there. Then it's just a matter of working with the brackets. They almost look like bar risers, just the clamps there, top and bottom. There's obviously two different sizes because we have two different sizes of tube. There is kind of only one way it goes together. There was a little bit of head scratching, but once you figure out one side, the other side just falls into place. So there's really good coverage, covers around the side of your flywheel magneto, covers up to the side of the cylinder, covers your fairings and radiators, and is really, really solid. Much more solid compared to the OEM Honda light bars. So what else can I say about the crash bars? Obviously I haven't tested them yet, but they're super well engineered, very, very thick, very, very strong. This lower crash bar is the thickest on the market. I think it's 1.5 or 1.25 or something like that. So it's very, very thick and strong, and that sort of forms the backbone of the whole system. The whole system itself in Australia was just under $1,100, and I think looks makes the whole bike look really, really cool. So let's be honest, that's an important consideration as well. But yeah, ultimately very, very happy, very, very good coverage, pretty simple to install, superbly engineered. The only thing left to do now is take my $20,000 motorcycle and smash it through the bush and crash on the ground.